See how we doing? Aha! Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. And know your planets, know yourself. And my goodness, these ladies.
Move over, Lady G Taylor.
Indeed. So this, as usual, Lady G has surprised us with another fabulous look that we've only just seen.
I look forward to it.
Oh, it's always fun. You know, diamonds are a girl's friend. Yes, a little Carol Channing today.
Yeah, it is Carol Channing. Yeah, I get that. Yes. Sorry, my light is wobbly. I can't do anything about that. I think I've just arrived in this hotel in New York, and I'd say it's more industrial than chic. But I'm out of the rain, but I can't speak for the lighting.
Bless.
It's good. At least you're out of the rain. So
I'm out of the rain. It's filthy.
We're happy to have you here. I wasn't sure if you were going to be here or not. So
yeah, it's a miracle. And I was going to show you the Manhattan skyline, but you can't see it, and I'm looking at it, right? Because of
Indeed, I can imagine. I would say, I did notice the background, Lena, but of course, look, you are in transit, and the word I would use is probably utilitarian.
But it's nicer than it first looks. It's actually got nice wooden floorboards. It's got double glazing. The Wi-Fi works, but it's not the most attractive building I've ever seen. Yeah.
Well, we're glad that you're here, and we're back together three again. And now it's really quite interesting because we're no longer spanning 17 time zones.
All of a sudden I'm here in the throbbing heart of the Eastern Standard Time Zone.
Which is remarkable. And I understand that you've barely had any sleep. Is that correct?
No, I don't know what day it is. I couldn't even begin to guess, but I haven't slept for a long time now.
I don't know how you can navigate. If I don't sleep, I'm just worthless.
Well, that's how I usually am, and I'm holding it together by a very thin thread. So I'm going to turn my phone off tonight and sleep.
Right. And sleep. Okay, well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get stuck into the show as usual. Thank you to everyone who is joining us here live.
Thanks to all who've been gathering here in the comments.
Yes, everyone's piling in, everyone's gathering in. Also, as well, happy Sunday morning as well to those of you. Many of you catch us on the Sunday with a nice cup of coffee and hopefully a nice pastry or something like that. So if you're catching us on Sunday, then hello. And also as well, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And of course, indeed, and the links to the ladies' channels as well are in the description below. Right, folks, let's begin. But first, let's start with a little bit of astrological weather. Ladies, a little bit of astrological weather. Now, of course, the whole world and his wife knows that we're in eclipse season right now. And we've just had the solar eclipses. And oh my goodness, they have not disappointed.
No, it's been whoosh, 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 hasn't it?
It's just been one revelation after the other, because what our eclipse is all about, essentially, they reveal stuff. They reveal stuff we may have had an inkling or was suspicious about. And then it just comes out into the full light of day, and everyone most of the time is like, oh. So of course the big shockaholic of it. Oh, shockaholic.
There's a new word. I might adopt it. Thank you, Hogarth. I might bill myself as a shockaholic.
It just fell out. But in a way, don't you feel like it's almost the news cycle has been so combustible over the last few years? It's really hard to kind of keep up. So we've had all the shock with Tucker, of course, and all that stuff. But we are in between, folks. There is more to come. We have not had the lunar eclipse yet, which happens
on the 5th?
5th, 5th to the 6th of May. And of course, a certain someone is being coronated on that day. So we might look Look a bit of that.
Really? I'm so detached. I didn't realize it was that soon.
Yeah, it's come round pretty quick. And thanks for that donation.
Thanks, Tricia. That's very generous.
That's wonderful. So one thing I wanted to just update. Now, the two of you may or may not have heard of this, but in one of my videos, I was talking about, AI and deep fake and stuff like that. Guess what happened near the eclipses? Did anyone hear about the interview with Michael Schumacher?
No.
Yeah, so you're familiar with Michael Schumacher?
Vroom driver.
Yeah, Formula One driver, 7 championships, and Lewis Hamilton is now tied his record. Anyway,
wasn't he in a coma or something, or is
been in a coma, had a ski crash, hasn't spoken for years. But this German magazine, what is it called here? I should have underlined what the magazine is called. But anyway, one of the editors has been sacked. Because what she did was she put a AI generated Schumacher response interview into the main magazine. Yeah. Look at the ladies' reactions. They're like,
the man is in a coma or just emerged from a coma. I mean, tasteless doesn't cut it.
Indeed.
Cruel, base, unthinking, dreadful.
Indeed. So I'll just read a little bit of the spiel and then we'll get stuck in. So yes, so magazine editor sacked over AI generated interview using character AI, new one to me, which artificially generated Schumacher's quotes. The family are utterly appalled and are taking legal action against the magazine. And the magazine has apologized, and the senior person said this tasteless and misleading article should never have appeared. I'm sure we would agree. It in no way meets the standards of journalism that we expect. Well, it'd be nice if there was some certain standards of journalism.
Wouldn't that be a revelation?
In certain parts of the press, shall we say, said Bianca Pullman, the managing director of Funk Media Group. Right. As a result of the publication of this article, immediate personal consequences will be drawn. The magazine is called D'Arctuel. I'm sorry, I probably mispronounced that. Editor-in-chief Anne Hoffman, who's held the journalistic responsibility for the paper since 2009, will be relieved of her duties as of today. Yeah, back then.
Yeah.
So it leads us to our first question. I think we should do a one card pull on this.
Yeah.
And what is the likely impact of AI on humanity going forward?
Oh, just a one carder. We could do a 20 carder on it, but let's do a one.
Yeah, we could. I think this is one we're going to keep revisiting.
Yeah, exactly. AI. Oh.
So let's do a one card pull to get us warmed up for the show.
We're doing a one card, did you say?
Yeah, we're going to do a one card pull, future impact on humanity of AI, because we'll revisit this subject.
I think this calls for a little rant.
Oh, I think something a little bit special.
Yeah.
And if anyone's curious as well, I also did some videos on the impacts of the planets, and I said Neptune's influence will create scenarios of deep fake. Remember that? Yeah, deep fake. All right, one card pull. Let's have a look, see. All right, are we ready, ladies?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Ooh! They're not a pretty set of cards.
No.
Oh, wow.
Dude, heavens, and they're all connected. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly. It's
wow. Okay, Lena,
the one card pulls are revealing in their own right.
Really revealing in their own right, aren't they? They're so poignant. So how do you interpret your card, Lena?
Well, the confusion over it. Now, what happens like with our phones and everything else, they introduce this technology, usually how to save a baby or get a damaged person to walk or some brilliant innovation that you want and need, and then they slip all this other stuff in with it. And I think people are confused by what it actually means and represents, and should be, because we haven't got a clue,
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. Lady G, how do you interpret your card?
I think, just like what just happened, and they're having the lawsuit, I think there will be a lot of losses and lawsuits with that. And we're going to have to look behind to just see, what's actually there.
And my card here, the Five of Pentacles, the way I interpret this, and I think it's like with what you were both saying, ladies, these things are always sold as, do you remember, like, if we believe the Jetsons cartoons, we'd all be in hovercraft, you would have flown yourself across the Atlantic, wouldn't you, Lena, in your little car?
Oh, yeah. And there would be no housework.
Yeah. Well,
there'd be no housework, there'd be nothing. And I think all this AI stuff, it is being sold, as the problem solver extraordinaire. Just ask the cloud, just ask AI, and it will give you whatever you want. But already, what I think this is leading is to a greater impoverishment, as this card would suggest, of humanity at large. Because unfortunately, what is happening now is the technology is developing at such a pace, such a rate, and on one of such sophistication that we cannot fully anticipate the fallout from this, and it's not likely to be good. Already, a German photographer won a competition, a Sony photography competition with AI. He won a section, and then he declined the award because he said, look, you guys could not tell the difference.
Yeah.
And we need to talk about this. So I think ultimately it may lead to actually an impoverishment of humanity. I think there'll be many lawsuits and losses also as well when it comes to papers written for university submissions. They're saying a lot of people are using AI already. So
it's already happening. Yeah. And universities haven't got the resources to have the technical skills to pick it. So we all had a program that used to just look at where sentences came from, and they could work out it was from somewhere else and all that. But it's leaping along so fast. So it's going to be bad for education. I think it's going to be bad for nursing too, because I'll just let a robot do it. What that patient needs is just a human touch.
Exactly.
How are you, Gloria? And not in an AI voice. Actually listening to the answer, all of it.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be prostituted into aged care and low-level nursing skills, and I think it's bad.
Indeed. And here, Teresa said, I can't charge a student with cheating with a chat.
That's right.
Chat GPT detector. It's such a. Oh, it's just really.
In Australia, it's harder and harder to set an exam because half the students will say they have social anxiety and can't sit an exam. And so you can't actually test them on what they know because it's all online, and then it's an online test. You could get anybody to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing that I see happening potentially as this problem becomes more and more detected, I think what will happen is, because people are using it for CVs and stuff like that already. I mean, it's already in
it's everywhere. Yeah.
And what I see happening is that even after a person gets the job, or part of their job will be a general all-round competency test. They're actually, I think they're going to literally, so like there's all the hurdles, maybe everyone using ChatGPT or whatever, they select, and then they see who can really, really do, the...
Exactly. Who's got the goods?
Yeah.
Edie, thank you so much. That is a super sticker. Cheers.
So much, Edie. That's
blessings.
Indeed. Mwah, mwah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So we covered a bit of tech. Isn't it interesting? Those one card pulls, they can just.
They really you think, and then are amazing.
Yeah.
And as
Yeah.
Connie said, I wrote my thesis for my master's by spending hours at the library with her children. Hello. And yeah, you can't trust the quality of a degree if there's this at play.
Yeah, it erodes everything, isn't it? And that Five of Pentacles can also speak about that cheapening in a way of just everything. Because then, and they're even using it for artwork as well. I'm not so against it per se, but for me, with my own artworks, I'm already documenting my creative process, creating videos of me hand illustrating my work.
Yes, because in 5 years or whatever, someone will just go, "Nyeh."
Yeah, or they'll just accuse me. They'll say, "Oh, you didn't do that. You used AI." And I'll be like,
No, it's a very
didn't.
good idea.
No, I didn't. Here's me actually doing that stuff. So yeah, I'm future-proofing myself. Okay. Shall we move on to the next question?
Absolutely.
Quite a lot came out of that. Quite a lot came out of that. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. As you know, we rattle along with this show. This question's coming from Nicola McClafferty. Oh, I love her questions. They're always quite piquant. Right. So what she says is, so now we're going to Iran, everyone. No, that's not the one.
No.
Is it? 1 minute, one minute. What did I put as number one? Oh, here we are. We're going to Iran after this question. Sorry. So this is coming from J. Lawrence. Will President Biden be able to get the CARES Act reinstated?
Sorry, what does that mean?
Well, I was hoping you would know the answer to that.
Can someone tell? Is that Universal Health Care or some other CARES Act? I'm sorry, I don't know. You'll have to let us know, guys. Oh, Trudeau's in New York too. Oh, I should have the phone on in case he wants a cocktail.
Well, you know what? But as we know, that's what's great with the cards, because it means you can fly blind and you can just ask the cards. So
exactly.
We can. Yeah, sure.
We can understand. We know it's obviously about the CARES Act is obviously something connected with health and whatever. So of course, guys, let us know in the comments. We're flying blind on this one, so let's just pull.
Oh, I fly that way 90%. I try to make it, but
And okay, so question again: will President Biden be able to get the CARES Act reinstated? So we're flying on our pants this one, ladies and gentlemen.
Reinstated, is that the
reinstated? The person says. J. Lawrence has asked the question. Biden. Oh, and some people were asking me to do a chart deep dive on Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's worth another look.
I love that one. Now call her Empty Green. Yeah.
Empty Green, or Leaky Douchebag Blowhard is my particular one for her. I'm going to post at the end of this show a video that I did on her, which it's still relevant now, actually. I published it on February 3rd, 2021. And I think I compare her chart and Trump's chart. I've not seen the video since, but it was uncanny. So watch that until I do another one.
Yeah, that'd be interesting, because she's angling to be, the VP under Trump. I don't think Trump knows she's alive. This is the problem, right? She's giving everything to this man, and he'd be going, "What's the name again? Gee, that's a stupid name." Like what? He'd have no idea.
I think I think he's complained about her look. That's what he's complaining about.
Oh, well, she's dead in the water. She can forget all about this. I'm loving this. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So
now, thank you, viewers. You were so onto it. The Coronavirus Aid, Relief and Economic Security Act, known as the CARES Act, and all this additional funding is about to stop and is being stopped. And now I remember what I've read about it, that's a real problem, because people who have had some health protections under this umbrella will be losing them.
Oh, bless.
Yeah.
Bless. Yeah. Bless.
So, yeah.
Gosh.
I can go if you want.
Go for it. Go for it, Lena.
Yes, people are assessing it. Now, who are the people? Does that mean people who are properly assessing the economic distribution of this money, or is this just lunatics going, how can we attack Biden? But in either event, it's being assessed as we speak. It's shone a lot of light on a lot of things, because so many businesses survived because of it, but individually, so many workers in the casualized modern workforce had a mini bit of security for a minute, for a year or two. The same thing happened in Australia and probably in the UK. For most people on the breadline constantly in the gig economy, it was the most financial security they've ever experienced, right? And they could actually make a plan and do things, not that it was huge, but it did that thing. Then the King of Pentacles, which I think, because I have a difficult relationship with the King of Pentacles, it's easy to look at the big picture and go, we can't just keep giving handouts, but it's not handouts. People are doing it tough. It's like saying entitlements, like it's a bad word. No, they're earned benefits. And it's the same with this. It's an experiment accidentally in universal basic income. In other words, if you give people a bit of money to offset all their expenses, they can actually have a life. And what do? They spend the money. So the economy benefits. Sorry, I'll shut up after the next card. And this is an emotional issue. And this is where the different people assessing it don't connect, because Biden, and I don't think he's a faultless human being, God help him, but he does have a fundamental compassion, and I'm saying that the GOP just refused to engage with, not just the Trump GOP. They've always had that hardness. Anyway, so it's an emotional issue that's not going to go away regardless of what the bill says and does.
Interessante. Lady G, what do you have?
Well, we'll start here at the center of it, that people are struggling. And we have those going into it, that are basically walked away from the path of taking care of people. So the challenge is to try to get some balance and try to wake these ones up that continue to want to tie things up. So above it, we're going to look at, I'm trying to grab my cards here, trying to look at what side is going to have a victory, because this is really encompassing a lot of people and the need for them to get to better places. But again, the challenge is what's being hidden and what payoffs are happening where. And unfortunately, there are those that want to keep it dead in the water, basically. And we have the people here that really need it because it is a nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
So the challenge is the challenge is to get enough money and things and enough people willing to fight for it that will come out. Yeah.
Is that your dog, Miss Kitty?
That's poor Mr. Max.
Oh, poor Mr. Max.
That little bitty 7-pound dog that Lord only knows what.
And he snores like a sea lion.
I know he does. He sounds like me. We're both barking over here together.
Oh my God.
And just before I read my cards, just an extra addition here. So Teresa says we are doing homework in the classroom because students are using chat bots.
Good on you, Teresa.
It's happening already.
Yeah.
And then here, and Angela says, please bring the bard out of retirement. Don't worry.
Don't
Angela,
worry.
the bard is on the way.
I have every faith.
He's on the way tonight. Okay, look, the cards I've got. Ooh, yeah, dicey. Yeah, dicey. Straight off. Look, who do I get? Look, we got the High Priestess. Yeah. Now, look, we love this lady. If you're doing your spiritual work and all of that kind of stuff, and your mantras, and you're, connecting with spirit and all this stuff, wonderful card. But when you're asking about money and payouts and consistency and stuff, you don't want this lady showing up. Yeah. Because here, really, this card deals a lot with what is hidden, what is not obvious to view. Yeah. So this would suggest around this question, there are machinations. It's not that it's completely vanished, but there are machinations about whether or not this thing can be reinstated, etc. But it's probably a debate that's happening behind the scenes in the administration. Yeah. Here, the next card here, which is the Six of Wands, you would think, oh, quite a positive card, yeah? However, as you know, in my 5-card spread, the second card often represents the obstacle position. Yeah. So this is looking like what? The opposite of victory, yeah? So there's machinations going behind the scenes, but it's almost to me as if people just like, well, they kind of done all right. I mean, they've had a good run. Yeah, I think there's that kind of energy to it, particularly when we see the next card here, which is look at that. So quite literally, if we just take this literally, the government is not sure which choice to make, whether to continue it or to cancel it. If they cancel it, then of course that can mean a lot of difficulty, obviously, for a lot of people who have, like Lena and the ladies were saying, and Lady G was just saying, who've got to enjoy a better standard of living than they had before. Not that they're millionaires.
Not flash, just being able to pay the power bill and buy a loaf of bread.
Absolutely. Awesome. Absolutely. So there's that. But then, as everyone has found, inflation has proved to be a lot stickier, than previously thought. Yeah, do you remember they said inflation would just go up and it would be, wouldn't be an issue? Here we are years in and it's still a problem. So here, look, the government is not liking the choices that are on the table, but this can also, I think, also apply to those that have been having that potential uplift as well. Right. And would really like the scheme to come back because they're not liking their options either. The cost of living stuff is just ridiculous. And I'm hearing, well, not even hearing, it's been stated actually that many people are using buy now, pay later schemes for groceries.
Yes.
Oh,
it's deeply, deeply worrying. And then it's affecting the underclass who can't get onto the property ladder. That it's affecting the working class because their jobs are insecure, and the middle class, money's just being siphoned out of their family income. So people are doing reverse mortgages in Australia. Oh. So even if they're paying off a house, they're paying all their other bills and debts off this much that they've paid off of the house. So you can see where that's going to end up. They're going to be foreclosed in 15 years and they're going to end up with no house and a bill for $200,000 for.
And you said this
they send you those things every single month. Don't you want to take a loan on your house? Don't you want to take money out?
It's scandalous.
They're horrible.
Scandalous, yeah, absolutely. And look at the last card here. What you mentioned, Lena, did you say that is happening in Australia now or also in the United States?
Oh, yeah. No, Australia's got all the same issues, only in microcosm. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Right. Yeah. So here, look at this, the outcome card. It's the King of Wands. Now, as you know, I refer to this card as what? The King of Entrepreneurship. But for who? Like Lady G was saying, and what my clients tell me, one is bombarded with these questions of remortgage, buy this, get this finance, blah, blah, blah. So the way I see this is that sadly, unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are trying to profit, off this misery. There's that. But then one would also hope as well, on the positive interpretation, that the administration will recognize, well, you know what? People who are ordinary people, when they get money, they spend it in the economy. And I'm hoping that a few sharp sparks that, that could be in government may see the upshot of this by prolonging this a bit longer. It will actually keep people spending and prevent that recession that everyone is talking about. Oh, well, well.
And Jezebel in the comments, someone said, Jezebel, love the name. Someone else has said McConnell's very sick, and I think he is. However, she said, don't kid yourself. He's still functioning. He spearheaded the refusal to let the Dems replace Dianne Feinstein on the committee, which means Dems can't confirm judges. God, he's an evil player. He knows how corrupt and filthy and inadequate his party has become, and yet he's still prepared to sabotage the other guys.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, look what I've got at the base of the deck. Look, abuse of power. These people, they're just so intoxicated with wickedness. There's no other word to describe it. They're intoxicated with wickedness.
And I also feel that the Dems are spectacularly bad at calling them out and naming names. Just have a list. So any Dem that's interviewed in any context go, well, Arizona's not getting this because, and Arkansas's not getting this because of this person, this person, this person, this. Start making the connections for people in those red states, because they do not make the connections otherwise. So you've got to make it crystal clear who is saying no to them.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's true. But as you guys know, I've done the chart, for the Democrats.
The mute planet.
Yeah, and they've got Ketu in the first house. Mute planet.
Oh, darling, nothing's depressed me more. And I think it's absolutely right. It's the only thing that explains.
Yeah, it's the only thing. When I look at their chart, I'm like, They just prefer a lot to go unsaid, but we're not. That whole ballpark has moved. One's communications these days has to be explicit and concise.
Yeah.
And that's what cuts through.
Basically, they all need to have workshops for a week going, soundbite. Tell me that story, Schumer, please, in a soundbite,
They need us. That's what they need. Yeah, they need us. Right. We're now going to get on our esoteric aeroplane and we're going to fly to Iran. Yeah. So here, Nicola McClafferty has asked, hi, Nicola. Iran has captured 2 tankers in the past few weeks under dubious pretenses. Is this part of their alliance with Russia in the hope that it destabilizes oil trade? Yeah, look forward to the show. I think that's a valid question, isn't it? Yeah.
That's
Nicola juicy. Comes out. She comes out with juicy ones, as Nicola.
Thank you, Nicola. Yes, Feinstein's pride is making her look really bad. Do it for the country. Take one for the team. Do it for your party. Do it for the women of America. Do it for any reason that originally motivated you to get into politics.
She can't remember.
She can't remember.
She's corrupt. Sorry. That's my opinion. She's corrupt.
Okay. So Iran's been doing these sneaky things with ships, is it? Is it naval?
It's normally oil tankers. It's a trick they've pulled a few times actually. I'm not familiar with this story, so this is a cold pull for me as well. But they've got form on this. Iran has actually been capturing over a period of the last 3-4 years. So this is oil tankers, which of course can affect the oil price and hence give more profit.
Yeah.
But is Russia part of it? Is it collusion? Iran. And there's over 1,200 of you with us live tonight. Thank you so much, folks. Is this a collusion? Is this a collusion with Putinshka? Could well be. They've sold him the drones.
Yes. Oh, this is interesting. I should use these cards more often.
Go for it. What do you have, Lena?
I've moved to the Italian Oracle deck, and I've got friends, enemies, melancholia, and jealousy.
Wow.
Okay. So, you know that old saying, you have to think, you know, your enemy's enemy is your friend. And I think it's a bit like that, because Iran is dealing with Western sanctions. And although I've got no time at all for the demonic old ayatollahs that are suppressing people, nonetheless, they've been under Western sanctions, which has affected not the ayatollahs, but the everyday people. So the point being, there's these perverse alliances with Iran, China, and Russia, and enemies and friends and enemies. They're pretending, depending on the day of the week, to be both those things to those people, right? Melancholia, I think, is speaking to Russia in this. I think there's a bit of... I don't know how egotistical Putin is, in the sense, if he could roll it back, would he? If he was given a magic wand and said, let's go back before February last year, would you still invade Ukraine? See, he was motivated by melancholia for the great Soviet Empire. And that's what Iran has in common with them, when Persia was great. But when you go down the way of dictators, you end up with a piss-poor country instead of the mighty country that it could be. And jealousy, a bit of jealousy, I think, that Russia's getting all the news space and all the attention and stuff, and Iran's gone off the boil a bit.
Wow. Very interesting cards. Lady G, what do you have?
Well, at the very center of it, we have this needs to be investigated and looked at deeper, because the foundation, they've had some dark conversations, okay? And again, this is some darker elements above it that's going on. Going into that, we have those in the know, those in power, that are underneath of it, trying to slow walk things and trying to insulate themselves. But make no mistake, they've got people in the hand of moving this. Again, we have somebody behind the scenes that's in control of it. Above it, we have this moving forward, getting those ships, and the foundation is creating a different storyline. The challenge is new actions as far as the direction is going. And again, somebody behind trying to control. Now, when I see this, I see Russia. Okay. Russia is involved. And we have the burden of this, the clarification, the doorway, and the timing. All of these things need to be looked at but there's, nefarious things going on behind the scenes and creating new stories. And of course, Russia is also involved in that.
Interessante. Okay, I'm going to read my cards, which are really quite a jumble, you know. Quite interesting. When you look at them, because you've seen, like, when we pull, like, even when we do the one card pulls, there's a coherent narrative that usually emerges. But when we talk about this Iran situation, the cards are all like this. So it shows that even the protagonists in this story, as it comes forward, they're not sure of each other either. So there's almost like the China, Russia, Iran, let's try and put on this united front. But you know the images that drop into my mind? It's almost like Murder on the Orient Express.
Yes, exactly.
Do you remember that film? And the big part of the film is like, who did it? Who did it? And it ends up all of them.
All of them are involved, yeah.
Because they're jostling for position. Yeah, they're jostling for position. And what we also need to remember is, of course, with these dictatorships, of course, the egos are massive, and they want the spotlight. And I think so that jealousy aspect I find quite interesting. So, this is what I got. Here we are, Knight of Wands rushing forward. So we don't know what this is about. Look, they've gone and captured a couple of ships. Even though we're not able to verify it for ourselves, but I think that is the case. So here they are, boldly going out there, making headlines, getting stuck in and taking action. Isn't it interesting as well? Fire is combustible, oil is combustible stuff. But look at the obstacle position. Queen of Cups, yeah. As Lady G would say, what is in the crucible of abominations? Yeah. There's more going on here than meets the eye. Tremendous machinations. Iran's wanted to make a bold move because, you know, like Lena says, they've been out of the headlines for a while. Xi Jinping has, you know, created peace in the Middle East and taken all the oxygen. You know, Vladimir, you know, Putinescu, of course, is doing his kind of shindig. So they're like, right, I need something. I think if we take this card quite literally, and especially because it's appearing in the middle, it seems like Iran is trying to strengthen its position on the world stage, quite literally, but by doing a bold act, something a bit outrageous, a bit audacious, almost to be like, don't forget we're here. We know there's war going on, but we're still players, digging deep. However, as you were saying, Lena, look, there is the poverty card. So I think this has several contextual meanings. First of all, this is sympathy, of course, to the Iranian people who are suffering under the unrelenting douchebaggery of these, you know, so-called leaders.
Sanctions, generally.
Yeah, sanctions and all of that stuff as well. But this also shows as well that this is by taking oil tankers. Oil, of course, is still one of the most consistent ways to make money on the global stage. And while Russia is, you know, being boycotted in so many different ways, does Iran maybe see this as an opportunity to bolster their own finances, to counteract some of those sanctions that they've had?
Because one of the sorry, Hogarth, have you got more cards?
Oh, there's one more, but but hold that thought. So it seems like to me this hostage, in a way, taking is to try and reverse a domestic situation at poverty at home in order to stabilize things. So I think it's about them trying to galvanize their strength and change their position. They're showing solidarity with Russia, but actually, I don't think they would mind the business. Anyway, go on, Nina.
Exactly. And just two things sprang into my mind. We must not forget the women are still protesting and getting arrested, beaten, jailed, etc. And the men who are supporting them, but they're still doing it. So this is a way, just like Russia was doing, to try and look strong to its own people by taking Ukraine. It's trying to do that thing as well. But we forget too, it's now at least 10 years with these sanctions on Iran. It forced Iran's hand to sell oil or to barter oil, move oil, using the Chinese currency, not the American dollar. And so the petrodollar, which undercuts the whole thing, the American dollar is no longer the exclusive power currency that it was as a petrodollar because of the yen. And that's because of sanctions in Iran and now in Russia. So the West has stupidly, with these sanctions, created a nightmare for the long-term global economy for all of us.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that pans out. And as they say, policy is full of unintended consequences.
This is a classic example of that.
Indeed. So we'll have to see how it plays out. And if anyone wants a little bit more on the skinny on that, I've, as you guys know, I've done this USA comparison with China in terms of the dollar and the yuan.
Oh,
so
great!
you might
I have to see that.
Yeah, you might want to check that one out.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay. So are we ready for the next question, ladies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's talk all things coronation. Try not to throw up, Lena.
I'll do my best. I can't promise.
We know Lena is
Charles,
allergic. We all know Lena is allergic. Yeah, virtually allergic to these things. I'm kind of in between. I like the
I hope you brought your allergy medication.
I know. I'm homeopathic.
So we all know what's happening for those that are interested on Saturday, the 6th of May, which is, well, it's basically next. So our next HoGaLe's, folks, the coronation would have happened. Yeah. So King Charles III is being coronated, yeah, on that day with all the hoopla, bells and whistles. Apparently it's a reduced thing, so it's not going to be a massive parade. You know, he's trying to modernize things, but there will be the holy oil and the crowning and all this kind of stuff, and it doesn't happen very often, because the last time it happened was back in, I think, in 1952 when Queen Elizabeth when Queen Elizabeth went, and back then it was black and white TVs and it was all in its infancy. So it's been a long time since we've had one of these.
Well, it's so long that my sister was at primary school, and every child in Australia for the coronation had to rush out and form Elizabeth II, you know, with children forming, and she was in the second E of Elizabeth, and she's turning 80 in September.
Oh, bless.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's how long we've been dealing with this.
Indeed. And so whenever this subject comes up, it like something coming out of a deep well. It's almost like the moon card for Lena. These deep memories just emerge from the abyss to give her nightmares. So anyway, so King
I can do it. I can do it. Be strong, Lena. That's King Charles.
That was brilliant. So let's pull some cards and let's see what's going to happen. Yeah?
Okay.
Because it is an eclipse, and some people have just been like, oh, is this juju? Is this whatever? I'll tell you something interesting, though, about the eclipses. In Vedic astrology, they are also referred to as kingmakers.
So it might work for him.
Might work out. But
someone in the comments just said, will there be protests? I don't think so. The English love the royals. There might be a handful of people.
I mean, one thing I would say is this. I mean, their popularity is going down, but I would say the royal family is the only brand that we've not sold. Yeah.
No, the Germans sold it to the UK. They were Saxe-Coburgs. They couldn't speak English until 1932.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
No, sorry to prick the bubble. Okay, the question, so how's it going?
How will it go? How will it go? And what does this mean for the royal family as well? Let's broaden it out.
Oh,
King
my
Charles.
God.
All right, what's going on for Charlie?
No.
Oh, there's almost 1,400 of you here.
Blessings to everyone.
Incredible.
Incredible. Well, I've tried to be a neutral, conduit for the cards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can't promise.
What do you have?
Oh, I don't know. Look. Pages here. Pages. What is the message that's being put out by this event, right? So you have the Page of Swords. In fairness, I think in a positive sense of the Page of Swords, we are great, and he'll be crowned with lots of swords, going on, literally, and all of that stuff, right? So it's using the energy of that sword thing to bedazzle people. It's worked a treat for 1,000 years. You know, no reason why it won't go overnight. Anyway, it's becoming a bit of a burden. And I think the media will probably be a mixed bag in the sense he's simply not as popular as his mother. Harry will be a source of a lightning rod for dissension. The cost of the event, all that stuff, inevitably, it's going to be talked about as a burden. But your point, Hoagie, often is, you know, it brings money to the country and I'd prefer to divest their estates and do it that way. But anyway, it does bring recognition and bringing it in, but they're in a bit of trouble here. And I think this is in the green room of the coronation. Right? I think, you know, imagine you've got King Charles, Camilla, William and Kate. And Kate, I hear, likes a drink. So she's probably having a wee tipple before she pops on the front. And I think this is behind the scenes of the coronation.
Wow.
Real tension.
Yeah. One would imagine, especially after that book, which we will not even say.
Will never be mentioned again.
Will never be mentioned again. But Lady G, what do you have?
Well, I don't know. Mine is very odd. At the very center of it, we have some things not wanting to be taken in. We have this gifting of, you know, maybe some of the lower classes and things will enjoy it. But
they love it. I love it.
But underneath of it, there are some that are just, you know, no, we're overdone with this. Why are we doing this? We're chained to this drama. And then so going into it, there's going to be feeling maybe a bit of loss that it's not, you know, as big productive as he thought it would be. Feeling overturned, temperate people are a little bit more, you know, low key about it. So now they're looking for the new opportunity underneath of it, that some sort of a victory, but they're juggling this stuff. As far as the challenge, you know, this is long term. They've been having these types of things. So they're offering this all up from stuff from the past. And they're still in this, this illusional state of continuing to have these. But the deeper that people are looking into it, the more that they're, you know, looking at the illusion, the fallacy, and feeling a bit tied up with it. So it's
tough, cards.
You know, there will be some of the lower classes that will be celebrating, but then there will be others that go, you know, this is tired, isn't it? Time to give it a bit of a rest.
Interesting, because you're not invested in the conversation.
No.
You know? So it's interesting. Yeah.
Hoagie,
what did you get?
I've got mine are quite interesting, and I just want to click up on this one here because it just made me laugh. And someone says, Darren here said, did anyone see that video clip where MTG talks about how in the Ice Age people paid taxes?
No, they didn't pay taxes, right? In the Ice Age, they didn't pay taxes. So
is that what she said?
Why should people pay taxes now for climate change? Okay, that's her argument.
Is that what she said? Oh my God. I tell you guys, literally, I'll have that video that I did in 2021 where I do the deep dive on her chart. It will play at the end. Dive in. I'll look at her again.
Please.
But honestly, she's not well.
She is
a
maniac.
She's not well. Like, genuinely, that lady.
No, seriously, not well. Oh, this stupid lighting.
Oh, no, don't worry about Lena. You're doing your travels. So here, King Charles, what cards did I get? Okay, look, the first card, a little bit ominous, don't you think? Four of Swords.
It looks like Westminster Abbey.
It does. So this is kind of speaking, I mean, could it be that the energy might be a little bit flat, a little bit lackluster? Could this be the case? And could this be the case that the coronation happens, but there might be something underwhelming about it? Look, this is not a card about leaping out of bed.
Ooh,
Yeah, it doesn't have that energy. It's about reflection. It's about pondering. It sometimes can mean being wounded in battle, but also as well, we're looking at the light that comes through the window here. So for me, in a way, I think this represents Charles's temperament.
Yeah.
He knows he has to be crowned.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. He's waited all of this time and it's eventually arrived. And I think he's kind of like, meh, I'm a bit over. I think he feels a bit lukewarm about it all. That's just my instinct. I think he feels lukewarm.
Probably 10 years ago, he would have been more enthusiastic.
Yeah, I just think now he's that much more mature. He's seen an awful lot of life. Look, he's not a perfect person, but he's a learned guy. Yeah. And I think he also realizes that there's more constraints that actually come when you're at it's the opposite in the UK. When you're actually the monarch, the head of state, you can say even less
autonomy.
Exactly, and at least the Queen could kind of use send messages, color-coded messages with her frocks. Yeah,
it's a lilac day.
Yeah, she supported the Ukraine by wearing yellow and blue. Yeah, she can't be political, but she literally turned up looking like a Ukrainian flag on once upon a time. Anyway, so here, I think this is about Charles is thinking, what kind of message? Yeah, what kind of message will this send to the public? And does it still have that seductive quality it once did? Yeah. Here he's trying to forge a new partnership, new relationship, trying to repair the damage from that explosive, you know what? Which has been named. Yeah. Here he is trying to mend bridges. I think his hope, even though he may feel lackluster about the coronation, he wants to try and come out with a positive message and maybe maybe mend a few bridges. Yeah, maybe come take certain family members to one side because look, we're here. We got the Six of which is all about what? Family, nostalgia. So I think Charles, and the outcome card being the King of Wands. Ultimately, I think he's seeing this as an opportunity to try and mend and repair rifts in the family. For some people, this will also give them a little bit of nostalgia because if they're, they'll be like, well, I remember when Queen Elizabeth was coronated, so there'll be that. But ultimately as well, Charles is a businessman. Yeah, he's the Duchy of Cornwall and this, that, and the other. And I think he's going to try and take more of a kind of, he's very passionate. And if we look here, this is him coming out literally as what? The King of Wands. So I think this is quite literally the outcome. I think he's going to try and use his kingship to influence as much as he can without crossing the line because he's passionate about the environment and all those different things. Yeah. So there you go.
And that would be a good result.
Indeed.
Well, he could just push the envelope a bit and say a few things. Yeah.
Indeed. So what we're going to have to do is because
some people were saying that Trump was trying to invite himself there.
Oh, they'd never invite him to this kind.
Oh God, no, they would never invite him. But somebody was saying he was trying to invite himself.
Would turn upside down.
Can you imagine?
Indeed. Look, ladies, the time has gone so quickly, so we have to skip a few questions because we want to get a bit of Shakespeare in. And so one question, let's do a pull on Mike Pense because Skybird is asking, did Pence spill his guts? And then we'll do a one card pull because Sharon Donnelly has asked, 45 is desperate. Could he humiliate himself further and ask Tucker to be his running mate? So we'll do one card pull on that and Shakespeare. So Mike Pense, did he spill his guts? And we'll try and get that in as quickly as we can.
A one card or a full pull?
Let's do. Well, what do you fancy? I mean, we could do two parts of one card pull because we really are. The hour is almost over. So let's do one card pull on Pence and then one card pull on Trump and Tucker and Ask Shakespeare. So
Yes.
did Pence spill his guts? One card pull.
Did he say everything that needed to be said?
Let's have a look. Did Pence, the man who literally, he's like for me, he's like the John Major of
Yeah, I get that. Probably most Americans wouldn't. He is exactly the John Major.
Exactly. And before we learnt about the affair with Virginia Bottomley. Anyway.
Yeah.
So after 3. 1, 2, 3. Ooh.
Wow. Oh.
All right. Lena, how do you interpret your one card pull with Mike Pense?
King of Swords. I think they nailed him. And although he's fought it all the way, I think he wanted to say it. In the interest of justice, the swords are about justice. So he was putting on his cloak. He was the hero in that context for a minute, despite his other, awful behavior. So I'd say yes to the question.
Lady G, how do you interpret your card?
He was trying to spin it and say, well, I can not talk as vice president when I was, doing the January 6th thing. So he's trying to make it seem like he was going to hold back. But no, now that he got the okay, yes, he was telling about all the grief and things that were happening behind the scenes that 45 was directing.
And of course, my card here needs no interpretation. Needs no interpretation. That guy. Now, this for me. When I see Mike Pense, this is the guy that says his prayers and asks permission from the Almighty before he even break winds. Yeah, before he
and mother.
Yeah, and I think he literally went into that courtroom and he let rip.
I do too. That's why
it all just came out.
That's
what the cards are saying. Once he was in those confines, he just let rip.
And he respects the Bible and the oath, whereas the Matt Gateses and the Jim Jordans, they don't respect it.
Exactly. They don't respect these things.
But for him, it was a big deal.
Indeed. So let's do one card pull. So 45, this is Sharon Donnelly. 45 is desperate. Could he humiliate himself further and ask Tucker to be his running mate? So one card pull on that. And then we'll ask the bard to close the show. All right. All right. One card pull.
Hold on.
I mean, that sounds like absolute abomination, doesn't it? Worthy of the Omen or some kind of horror film.
Look, it's...
Okay. 45 and Tucker. All right. After 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh. It tells the story. The
story, doesn't it? I love these one card pulls. Lena, what's your interpretation of your card?
I think people are in the Yeti's ear saying, this is a killer stroke of genius. Do it. He doesn't want to do it. It even looks like a young Trump under the tree, doesn't it?
Does a bit.
Right. I don't think he wants to. But which is greater, his greed and desperation for power or having the screaming irrits with Tucker Carlson now that texts are out saying that Tucker thinks he's a demonic force. So he's not happy, but that's not a finished position. That's just now.
Up in the air. Lady G, how do you interpret your card?
I think somebody's been planting those seeds in his ear.
Yeah.
But I think he would be worried that Tucker would become more popular. That it would be a bad harvest.
Exactly.
Indeed. And I would this. Absolutely. And I would continue with that as well. It's probably been floated to him as an idea, but I see Trump walking away from this one because he is one of the vainest men on earth. And, we all know he literally has mirror, mirror on the wall.
That's right.
Who is the biggest ego of them all?
That's right. This is a man who had Pence as vice president for 4 years. He doesn't want a dynamic superstar, however warped Tucker with an F is. He has pulling power and he has you know, all that stuff.
Can you imagine Tucker given that platform? Oh my Lord!
Oh,
So
it's hideous. Oh, the
bard, because you know, Trump does have that reptilian side to him, and as much as people may float that idea to him, I think he's probably like, nah. I don't think so.
That's right.
So who called last time? Can you remember?
Can't remember now. Are we reading it on Trump or
It's
Tucker
sort of
or
like
the
the
combo?
energies combined.
The
So let's
energies
see what
combined.
Bard has to
Love
say
that.
if this were to become a thing, Trump and Tucker. But I can't remember who called last
You
time.
go, Lady G.
Lady G, all right. You tell me
because
when
I
to
don't
stop.
remember
Yeah,
either.
I don't know.
All right. Tell me when to stop.
Okay, stop.
Oh, well, what the, oh dear, this is very, very quite harsh. So this is from King Lear, and the Bard's opinion on this union would be son and heir of a mongrel bitch.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on the next page, it says from King John, it says out dunghill.
It's quite explicit, really. You know, it's sort of
concise.
concise.
Yeah, very, very short. Yeah, very
no,
short.
their egos are too big. Their egos are too big to work together, which is good because it could, in its own way, have a dynamic. So that's.
Oh, it would. Oh, exactly. I really hope it doesn't happen because it will have a morbid fascination for people. People will just get sucked in, and it's too much. So the time, of course, has flown, ladies. We're already run over. It's gone in a flash. Fabulous show. Thank you for your contributions, as always, when we always have a very good laugh. Thank you, too, as well, for the donations, everyone. Happy Sunday if you're seeing us on Sunday. Thanks for all of the comments and everything like that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, of course, and the ladies' details are in the video description below. We will see you next week. It's just gone in a flash, but we've had a giggle.
Oh, but next week I'm going to Buenos Aires, so we have to communicate behind the scenes.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, you won't, traveler, you.
I'm happy to live on bread and water as long as I can travel.
You go around the world. I
You're
go
going to be
around
doing the tango.
No.
Well, actually, I've got a little bit of some travel plans myself in May. I'm returning my little Mecca to Italy, but you know that's next month. Love it. So, all right. Well, look, we'll watch this space, folks. Hopefully, we can get Lena back, maybe doing a bit of tango for us or something like that. We'll have to see how it goes. So we will see you next week. Thanks again so much for all the support, and we will see you soon. That was a real giggle, wasn't it? All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Awesome. Bye-bye.